This just in, breaking news folks, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says, I won't be loaded up on Bitcoin 10 years from now. Good luck! Big-time Pantera CEO believes Bitcoin could reach $356,000 in a couple of years. Bitcoin's untouched supply reaches all-time high of 21.6%. Is hodling back in style? What are they talking about? Hodling's always been in hodling style. Hodl your coins, folks. Remember, don't hodl. Don't sell your cryptocurrency. Hodl your coins. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and today we're going to be talking about the cryptocurrency news. Guys, if you want all the aggregated, data, general consensus, all the articles, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Hit that push notification bell so you can get it first, so you don't have to do all this research and look up all the general news. I do recommend you guys do research on blockchain technology and understanding cryptocurrency in general, but the general news, you kind of just want to consume it. You don't want to dive too deep into it because it could get crazy. So looking at the chart here, Bitcoin is hovering at around $10,000. We recently saw a little bit of price action right here. It looks like there was probably like one or two or a couple institutions that purchased this up because of how high it went in such a short period of time. This wasn't a lot of volume, just a huge, looks like someone's buying some bulk Bitcoin right here, okay? Which leads us to believe that a lot of people are saying it could be a Bart Simpson pattern, as you can see here, where it kind of jumps up, just, goes up and down sideways, and then it could potentially fall. But we are not interested in short-term Bitcoin price. We are interested in the long cycles. I hope you're interested in the long cycles, right? Bitcoin tends to do good over long periods of time, and getting caught up in the day-to-day price action can be a little bit annoying. So understand that when I'm talking about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, I am not trying to day trade. If Bitcoin goes down 20-30%, actually, that is a buying opportunity to me, and I will hold my bags and hodl until Bitcoin reaches $1 million. But that's not guaranteed. And guys, this is not financial advice. I highly suggest you do your own research. Of course, you can get the news and consume, all the general consensus and information with this channel. But I want you guys to do your own research and do your own due diligence. Always, okay? So one thing I want to talk about here before we jump into the news is, the difference between linear scales and logarithmic scales. If you look at CoinMarketCap, and I would say like the majority of charts, default, they're linear. So to explain the difference between linear and logarithmic, basically, let's say Bitcoin goes from $100 to $200. That's a 100% increase. It doubled, right? So in a logarithmic scale, that would be, in a linear scale, which is the regular one, that would be like one step up, for example, right? But let's say Bitcoin goes from $1,000 to $2,000. If you look at a linear scale, the jump will be a lot bigger. So $100 to $200 is a 100% increase, but $1,000 to $2,000 is still only a 100% increase. But on a linear scale, it'll look like a larger jump, right? It makes it look extremely volatile. But if you're looking at it from just percentage increases, which I highly recommend everyone, that's what you should be looking at. You should not be looking at the physical dollar aspect. You should be looking at percentage increases, because that's the only thing that matters when you're trying to make money in any type of market. You should definitely be looking at the log scale, okay? And this is going to play into some of the news, but this is what the log right here in CoinMarketCap. You could just click log scale right there, and this is the log scale of Bitcoin. As you can see, there is no real drops. This is the percentage increases over time. So we got Steve Mnuchin that says he won't be talking about Bitcoin in 10 years. BTC bad, USD is good. And he is the US Treasury Secretary. Man, this is a joke. Honestly, they have people that are researching this stuff. And if you just dive a little bit, if you spend, 2-3 hours understanding Bitcoin and blockchain technology and how crazy it has been increasing, it is the best asset you could possibly hold right now. He probably wouldn't be saying that, guys. It's his mainstream media, right? On CNBC, you don't want no, governments getting involved. They want to be pro USD. They want to say that the US dollar is going to dominate, of course, always. So I don't take any of this news seriously. Actually, in my opinion, this is like a bullish flag. When main media outlets talk negative about Bitcoin, typically that's a good thing in my opinion. Actually, there's a whole website dedicated to this. You can look it up. It's called The Skeptics, A Tribute to Bold Assertions. So this is basically a website of all these people that talk negative about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, and you can run down the list, right? So this guy says don't buy Bitcoins when it was worth 77 cents, right? This guy says you can't do anything with Bitcoin other than trade it for something you want. So intrinsically, the Bitcoin itself has no value. That was at $17.50. And we can see here, if we scroll to the bottom, they have, Steve Mnuchin has his own post saying, I can assure you, I will personally not be loaded up on Bitcoin in 10 years. So he has his own dedicated post. Let's see if he's right. Chances are, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, including traditional financial investors, he is not correct. In 10 years from now, there is a good chance Bitcoin can be worth far greater than $10,000. If you think $10,000 is a lot, guys, at one point you got to remember, I was looking at Bitcoin at 200 bucks, and if you would have told me, Bitcoin was going to be worth $20,000 in a couple of years, I would have laughed at you. But now anything could be possible, and a small percentage of the world population is even in cryptocurrency. Now we see institutional money coming in. $10,000, $20,000 Bitcoin is pretty much a joke at this point. I would not, I'm not going to make any predictions, but $100,000 Bitcoin is definitely in my sights, and that's why I've been buying it up. I've been telling you guys, I've been buying at these levels. These are great prices for Bitcoin. Yes, we can see it drop down to 8,500, but I am not going to get too greedy. I'll probably buy some at 8,500, but that doesn't mean it's going to inhibit me from buying right now, right? So as we go to the next article, Pantera Capital, the CEO believes Bitcoin could reach $356,000 in a couple of years. Graph the price of Bitcoin logarithmically. Like I explained to you guys, the log, this is the way you should be looking in a long-term perspectives. You want to look at the percentage increase, not the dollar value. Its trend is going to grow at 235% compound annual growth rate. That puts Bitcoin at $42,000 at the end of 2019. That is very likely, in my opinion. I definitely think it's going to pass, 20,000 in a couple of months, and 42,000 is just around the corner. If it passes 20,000, we're taking off. And I know this sounds crazy, but we're essentially halfway back there, and it's true. Yes, we popped the bubble at 20K. Yes, some people lost their money. It got down to even $3,100, but we're at 10K now. We're halfway back to 20K, right? I think it's a good shot by the end of the year that we're going to hit that. And if you extrapolate that line for another year, it's $122,000 per Bitcoin. And then one more year, $356,000. Guys, we see growth like this year after year. Bitcoin is just doing crazy numbers. And as people become more aware, a $356,000 Bitcoin is not, far-fetched. You have to understand that Bitcoin has a fixed supply. So if you come here, it has 21 max supply, 21 million BTC, and a lot of that is lost. I forgot the exact percentage, but a lot of that is lost due to, people just having it on their computer, throwing away their old computers, whatever. They got into Bitcoin and then, they lost it. And basically, we'll never get that back. This is not like regular currency like USD or the yen or any other world currency. There is a fixed supply. No government can create more Bitcoin. That means that the price can exponentially increase. It can go up over time. It can go up to $1 million. A lot of people are predicting, Bitcoin being $1 million to $10 million. It's very likely. You have to understand that if you added up all the millionaires in the world and you told them, hey, buy one Bitcoin, all the millionaires, just buy one Bitcoin, there would not be enough Bitcoin for all the millionaires to buy. That's crazy, right? Because if you think about it, if you are in a millionaire bracket, you're one of few people in the world, right? I mean, I'm sure there's millions, but you're one of few people in the world. And basically, they can't even get one Bitcoin. So think about that in a long-term perspective. You can be one of few people if you just get your hands on one Bitcoin. My goal is to get 21 Bitcoin because I would literally be 1 in a million people on Earth, according to, the 21 million total supply. I will literally be 1 in a million people on Earth. That's my goal for the next couple of years. Let's see if I get there. The way it's going, maybe if Bitcoin takes off, maybe not. We'll see. But if Bitcoin drops, I am going to be buying that up for sure. Okay. In other news, This is very interesting in my opinion. Bitcoin's untouched supply reaches an all-time high of 21.6%. So basically saying, you know, is hodling back in style? People are not moving their cryptocurrency more. They're not trading it or anything. This is the untouched supply, right? So people are understanding cryptocurrency more and more, and they're holding on to their Bitcoin. They're holding it because they realize how valuable it is, and the less they have, the worse off they are, right? And they're basically saying that the price of Bitcoin directly correlates from how many people are holding. So look, untouched in 180 days, that green line, and then total price of USD, it's kind of following it. And these are the people that bring up the price of Bitcoin, people that are holding it. Trust me, there's billionaires out there that are holding their Bitcoin. They're not worried about, you know, a 30 to 40% decrease. They're just accumulating Bitcoin over time for the chance to be, you know, one of a million people in my case for the 21 million Bitcoin, if you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So again, guys, just understand the bigger scheme of things. You know, you're going to have people say negative news all the time. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, there's always going to be negative news as well as the positives. I can't just keep giving you guys positive news. I got to give you the real deal, no spiel, like I always say, you know. And, you know, typically if you just trade in longer term cycles, if you guys accumulate over time, and forget about the money, man, forget about the short term. Nothing ever works short term, right? Think about it in business perspectives. Most businesses don't even get profitable for the first 6 months to a year, right? So if you think short term, you're most likely going to lose. If you trade the longer cycles and you hold, you buy when everybody's scared and you sell when everybody's talking about Bitcoin, and, you know, it's in the mainstream media and everybody's going crazy about Bitcoin, that's when you think about, you know, maybe selling off a little bit of your position to pay bills or to buy back later. But you do not want to day trade or swing trade. Think about long term. Like this video if you like the quality of this content. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it,